This episode of the TokuNet Podcast is sponsored by Tokulectables, CS Toys Japan, and the webcomic Red Belt. If you would like to hear your name or business at the beginning of the podcast, go to patreon.com/TheTokuNet. Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the TokuNet Podcast. It's our 50th episode! Yay! We need that. So, for this episode, we're going to have a very nice chat with some of the editors of TokuNet. We are missing one. Rest in peace. No, not rest in peace. But
hope you're feeling better, George.
Yes, hope you're feeling better, George. Yes, we love you. Anyways.
We don't respect you anymore, but we love you.
We love to pick on it. I think we can agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
It's like a policy thing with us editors. So, sorry, go ahead.
I'm about to start picking on you, Cootie, I swear.
Sorry, Chief Johnny.
Anyways. So, I'm joined by three special people. We have lead translator, Kuni.
Gingamon!
Yes.
Hello.
That was wonderful.
Been wanting to do it for a while.
We also have senior editor, Tom.
You alright, guys?
That was good enthusiasm.
See, a nice contrast.
Yeah, right? And other senior editor, Yaz.
I don't know what to say now.
That's okay. Save your energy, I suppose. And I'm the host, Nicole. I'm the editor-in-chief, and we're just going to have a nice, lovely conversation about TokuNet, about the editors, and just have a good time to celebrate the 50th episode. And by the time this comes out, it will be the 6-year anniversary of TokuNet.
Whew.
6 years.
Yeah, that's a lot has happened. Yeah. Anyways, so, speaking of 6 years, why don't we jump into introductions? So, how did you all get into Tokusatsu? Like, what was your first show that you watched? And I guess we can kind of talk about how TokuNet came about, because you all are part of the founding team, right?
It was such a long time ago.
I know.
Galaxy far, far away.
See, I'm the youngster out of all of you guys, as in like the newbie.
And she's the boss. We needed new blood.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, you know. But anyway, so Kuni, do you want to start?
Yes, I thank you. So, I mean, I've talked about this before, but my father is Japanese, so I've had contact with Japanese media from. I mean, I lived in Japan for a while when I was like 4, and back then I used to tape. Well, my father used to tape the shows. 5-Man was airing at the time. And Jetman, I remember very clearly that first scene with Radiguet showing his horrible face to the humanity saying, "We're going to conquer you and kill you." And I remember having loads of fun with it. But because of, well, I mean, it was back in the age, I mean, we're talking about Jetman. I've just aged myself there, dated myself. But anyway, I just had the tapes that remained because we left many, because they were VHS tapes, very bulky. And I used to watch them over and over, especially the 5-Man finale, those 2 episodes, I know them by heart. But anyway, that used to be my tokusatsu thing. But then around 94, Power Rangers started airing in Mexico. Because I'm half Japanese, half Mexican. And I lived in Mexico, so it was aired there. It was really a treat because it looked so familiar, but yet so new, because it was a series that I hadn't watched. And I was like, I have seen this. I told my brother about it. I got hooked on it. Then my brother just, went on his own path. But anyway, once the internet was available to everyone, broadband was accessible, then I started watching other shows by means I'm not going to discuss in detail, but yeah. And here we are. I'm still, loving it. And we decided to do something together so that we can spread that love to all the world. But we'll talk about more about that later.
Yeah, definitely. And Tom, how did you get into Tokusatsu?
Well, when I was a wee nipper, I lived in Singapore with my family because they had work there. And on TV at the time, they were showing Jiban, the Metal Hero show. So I have this vague...
Such a good show.
Yeah, I have this vague memory of him standing next to his car. I got into Power Rangers as a kid. Like everybody, I was the target audience at that time. So, like, all my friends were into it. Everybody had the toys and whatnot. I grew out of it, as you do with kind of kid stuff. And then I got back into it again randomly because I found an episode of Kamen Rider Fives, thinking that it was some kind of J-drama. And I was a teenager and just watching anime at the time, so I was like, oh, I should watch some J-drama, because that's how to get some extra otaku points, I suppose. And I didn't know what it was before the monsters started transforming. So that was a bit of a surprise.
Such a good series to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a really good first opening episode as well. From that point onwards, I started looking up other heroes and whatnot, and then discovered that Jiban was the thing that I'd watched as a kid that I had a very vague memory of. And that's it, really. And now I'm in Japan, watching
and occasionally appearing on it.
Most
So
recently,
by the time this is released...
by the time this would be released...
Will it be out?
Kamen Rider Reiwa Generation would have come out to the cinema. It would have grossed 10 billion yen. Been extremely
Got a
successful.
few Academy Awards.
Yeah, it's definitely primed for some big ones. And also because there was such a good fan reaction online, they're going to make a V-cinema for the Resistance members in the Magia world. So I'm particularly looking forward to filming that. And, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all the information he can disclose at the moment.
Yeah.
Yep. This is all future speak. We'll,
Exactly.
just so you all know.
Yeah.
This is joke.
Just look out for a Resistance member with a fisher's hat, and you'll know what we talk about.
Yes. Yes. He's a very special Resistance member to all of us.
Yeah. And we'll leave it at that.
Yes.
Yes, what about you?
I had a lot of fun. I had a gun, and I got to do lots of gunfight scenes. Also, I should point out I work as a translator in Japan now, and I also work as a stuntman in movies.
Yeah.
So, I should have said that before the movie thing. But yeah, there you go.
I think we got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, done this. I'm done. Next person, please.
Oh, me. Oh.
Yes, that's you.
So like most people, I got into Tokusatsu through Power Rangers, and like Tom, I was like sort of in that target age range when it first came out. So I was obsessed with it for a long time. I think up until maybe early high school, I think. Then I kind of lost track of it. At some point, I learned that it was not American, and I was like, what? That freaking blew my mind. And I remember looking it up online and seeing Die Ranger, or at least a picture of Die Ranger, and being very confused why the White Ranger was in a group of other heroes that did not look like the Power Rangers.
That didn't look familiar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's like when my world shattered a little bit. But then also I was like, but then I started researching a bit more. But at the same time, at that point, it's like the late 90s, so it's not like information was readily available. So it wasn't until probably midway through college that I randomly stumbled upon a video that had a bunch of stuff. Like, it was a mixed video of like stuff from different Sentai movies. And that's when I was like, oh, right, this is from Japan. Let me look this up. And it went from there. And that's when I started to get into like Kabuto and Faiz and Bokenger and all that stuff. And I really haven't stopped since.
That was such a good time.
Yeah. I mean, we all have our introductions, and it's so addicting, tokusatsu in general.
It's that first few months where you just want to binge everything.
Yeah, everything is new, everything is different, and
yeah, and you're just absorbing all of this information and content.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a nice time. I kind of wish I could go back to that sometimes, you know?
But how did you find out about it, Nicole? You haven't told us.
Oh, well, I think I've talked about it on one of the podcasts that we've done, but just as anybody in the US, I did watch Power Rangers. I think I was still a little too young compared to, like, the target audience, but I do have very, very strong memories of loving Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and watching a little bit of Zeo and Turbo, I think is when I finally started to kind of like drop off. But I adored Power Rangers so much. So then later on in life, around, I don't remember what time in college, but I came across some videos of Gokaiger when it started airing, and I was like, oh my god, like,
oh, Gokaiger.
Yeah, that's a very popular introduction for a lot of newer Toku fans, and that was my way in, because I saw them transforming into, like, all of the, what I thought were Power Rangers, and I was like, oh my god.
Was literally a sampler.
Yeah. So I was like, oh man, I remember all of this. And then I just deep dived, found out, you know, Super Sentai, then Kamen Rider, and then it just spiraled out of control from there.
Was that confusing at all? Like, discovering Gokaiger and then seeing them transform into, like, so many suits in one episode?
Yes. To me, that was really, really, really weird. And especially because they would transform into suits like Jetman and before.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I don't recognize that. But because it was so new, I was like, okay, I'm going to research everything. Like, because I got into Tokusatsu while Gokaiger was airing. So eventually I was able to catch up and kind of follow along, you know, still being like the first real Tokusatsu thing I watched. It was still, I didn't pick up on the subtleties as I would now rewatching it, but it was still really exciting. I think that's what a lot of people can say about if they started with Gokaiger. It was really exciting to watch them transform into these heroes and do cool things and yada yada. So that was my introduction to Tokusatsu.
It's interesting that a lot of people get into Tokusatsu or get back into it around college years.
Yeah.
Well, it's not embarrassing anymore. Because I remember, I mean, I continued watching, and I had many friends that continued watching Power Rangers even though we were, like, in 6th grade.
Yeah.
But by then, it's not cool anymore. So I remember we used to have code for talking about them.
Yeah.
So that other people wouldn't notice. But and it's part of the enjoyment and the charm that it has.
Yeah.
Because it's so flashy and so toyetic. And it's just, you know, a way for you to, you know, just leave your adult worries a bit behind and, you know, going back to being a kid again.
Yeah. And I mean, when I was in college, I went to a school that was very, like, tech focused. And growing up as a girl who likes, like, these kind of nerdy things, I was always, like, bullied and stuff like that, so I'd kind of hide it and just stop watching Power Rangers and stuff. And even Pokemon I fell out of, like, that kind of stuff for a while I fell out of. But as soon as I got to college and I was just, you know, allowing myself to be nerdy, that's when I could explore and find Tokusatsu and just completely obsess over it. I swear to God, I went nuts. You could not stop me from talking about these shows to my friends.
Well, literally binging on it, yeah, because, well, you were deprived of it so for so long.
Yeah, because I was like, oh my god, I used to watch similar things as a kid. Remember Power Rangers, you guys? And everyone would be like, oh, whatever. But I'm here like, oh my god. And I watched as much as I could. And I still, though I don't regard like Gokaiger as my favorite Sentai, I still have very fond memories of it being an introduction to Tokusatsu.
Yeah, like I have the same thing with Bokenger. Like it's not my favorite, and a lot of people don't like it, but it was the first one that I ever saw, so I was like,
no, you're happy. I mean, you end up treasuring it because it's just that. I mean, the excitement we talked about, everything was new.
Absolutely,
the impact it left in you,
and then you get to the point where you're just watching stuff like all the time. Like I remember watching like at the campus library, like I think it was Mass Rider the first.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I remember watching that for the first time on a campus computer.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
My mind was blown, and then like an hour in, I was like, man, this is boring. And then like an hour after that, I was like, oh, this is awesome again.
Oh my god. That's so funny, because I used to do that too. Like, I would go into the computer labs while I was working on whatever assignments, and either I'd be taking a break and I'd like sit down and watch these shows, or I'd like kind of play them in the background, even though I didn't understand Japanese at all at that point. But I still fun. It's still so much fun.
Yeah, Tokusatsu was a procrastination tactic for me in college. For sure.
Relatable. So relatable on that one. And I swear it used to be like the only conversation I could hold with a person, even if they were unwilling to listen. Which was nice when communities started really popping up, like forums and stuff like that. Which segues into, why don't we talk about how you guys met and how TokuNet kind of came together?
Tom, why didn't you start?
It was a cold, stormy night.
Cold, stormy night.
Oh, no, it's England, so it was a cold, slight drizzle night. I was wearing grey. 40 Towers was playing on the TV.
Oh my god.
I think we all kind of got to know each other on a forum. We talked about this a bit earlier, but I didn't join that forum until Kabuto was airing, which was 2007, roughly.
Somewhere around that.
6, yeah. So that would have been the first time that, at least with you two guys, that we spoke.
Yeah, I think that was us three and George, I think.
Yeah, so we've known each other like 12, 13-ish years at this point.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Good long time, yo.
Dang.
I don't remember much of what... I mean, I remember what we did, but I remember how we, came to hang out with each other. I mean, because we used to do news for that forum as well. We did fan subs for a while. I guess that was it, right? The fan sub... I mean, people that met through the fan subs... We would talk in, decided to do our own thing. Yeah. Paula who was there as well, and who we met there. Yeah. Invited us to do this thing. 6 years ago. 6 years ago, God.
I know, right? I see it.
Yeah, that's when we kind of started all talking on, like, Facebook, trying to figure out what we wanted to do and what we wanted to build. And Mike Dent was with us too. He was one of the founders.
Shout out to Mike Dent. We love you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Mike. I remember... no, because my conversation was about to also include Mike. I remember talking to Paula about news and stuff, and I think we were just like talking every day just about stuff. And I think I had said something, and she said, like, do you know what? I'm having almost the same conversation with Mike. Let me bring him in. And we brought him in. And there was the three of us talking. And then I think Yaz was next.
Yeah, because you and I were also talking about, like, we kind of want to do something that, sort of, not streamlined, but, have, like, standardized kind of way of
Have a process, have a standard, do things right, so that people could get, correct, timely information.
So it ended up being like we were having like 5 conversations amongst 6 or 7 of us.
Yeah, and so and then you invited Yaz, and then I invited Kuni, I think.
Yeah.
And it just kind of went from there. Actually, no, but like there was like a month where we just talked every day about stuff, and we hadn't organized anything. We hadn't done anything, and then we were like, fuck it, we should just make our own website. And we were like, yeah, it'd be really fun and stuff, and like not too seriously. And the true story is that Paula got drunk, and she bought the domain name. And that is officially how Tokusatsu Network started, because Paula got drunk.
Shout out to Paula as well, our first editor-in-chief. We love you, Paula, as well.
Yes, Paula Gatos, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, she brought us together in the end. She was a catalyst. Because she headed this ship, and it was hard to because it was like Tsuruhime. I mean, she has said it. It was like Tsuruhime, and the goofballs just goofing around.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah, the founding members were Paula, Yaz, Tom, George, Michael, and I. Michael, we remember you very fondly as well.
Yeah, Michael Payne.
Wherever you are.
Yeah. Well,
it started... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was about to ask more about what the first year was like, so please continue with where you were going.
Well, it's just, I mean, we didn't have any background on journalism or anything. Paula was the one who had a better idea of how to do things, but mostly the communication until like about a year after we started was on Facebook. Correct me, guys, if I'm wrong.
It was all Facebook Messenger.
Uh-huh.
And it was one chat. It wasn't even multiple chats.
Yeah, we wanted to do show reviews. We did Zubat to start with. That was an ordeal.
That was a mistake.
It was fun, but I mean, it was not the correct show and the correct way to do it. And then we just,
That is not a first episode that you do.
Oh my god.
But it was the format, right? It was because you were trying to do one episode per podcast, was it?
No. We did it. I thought we just did it all in one.
We decided to do it after because we were rotating reviews of each episode, but as articles.
Right.
And everything just got too monotonous, and every show was the same.
Yeah. So then we said, why don't we just do a podcast?
We just said, fuck it, and let's do it on a podcast. And then we vented about how much of a chore it was to write every single episode review, etc. Teething problems, it was a really, enriching educational process as well. Now that because we got feedback from the readers, and we found out what worked, what didn't. The podcasts were a really nice space in which we could, share ideas among us, not only with the listeners and the readers. And it's been a learning process since then, and it's a continuous learning process.
Yeah. Absolutely. It still continues to be that way, but I really think you guys over time have set a pretty good foundation, at least when I came in to become editor-in-chief. I really can appreciate how much work you guys put in to set that foundation.
Well, we had a pretty good beginning, to be honest. I mean, because before we even published the first article, we published like an about, hello, I'm this person.
Like an announcement thing.
Yeah, like
this is us.
You might know me from this username or whatever. And we actually had quite a lot of people going, "Oh, awesome!"
Because it was like we were all from different kind of. We had our own thing going, like different corners of the fandom, kind of. Mm-hmm. So we all just kind of came together for TokuNet. It felt like people were excited about it at the time. I don't know if this is just like my perception of it, but it seemed like everybody was pretty excited about it.
It definitely felt like, I don't want to sound so pompous, but I felt like we had already made a rapport before we started. Because people had known us for years at this point. Because as we said, we've been in the fandom
as community members, yeah.
Nearly 10 years before that point. So when we said we were going to do it, people were like, oh, cool. You know, it's guys I like doing something. I'm going to support it. So we already had kind of a good foundation right from the get-go.
One thing I do want to mention is that we from the start, we made it a policy to avoid drama as much as possible. And I think it was just a chemical reaction what we had, because it's always been like this, and it's always been harmonious, it's always been civilized, and we are still friends, and there have been no nasty Twitter fights and stuff like that. And I think that reflects on what
there were a couple.
And I think that reflects on the content and how much we have grown. And before, I mean, I know how mutual backslapping sounds. All this we are saying, but we are just reminiscing on how far we have come. It's been hard, and well, there's people that doesn't like us. There is people that prefers other outlets, and that's completely fine. But we just wanted to share how it has been these 6 years. Thank you, of course, for reading us or watching us or listening to us.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, I can assure you it's not as complacent as it sounds.
That's too funny.
I think this whole journey has been sort of a humbling experience, because
certainly,
whatever you do, like, so you're gonna get feedback, and you're gonna learn what you've done wrong, or maybe you could have done something this way, reported something that way, getting this kind of information this way, or whatever. So especially that first year, it was a huge learning curve for us. Even though we've all had experience in it, we still had to figure out our tone, our standards, what type of news we wanted to report on, how we wanted to report on it, format, all that stuff, formatting and everything. So that first year was very interesting. It's something that I think most people, when they create a website like this, go through, because you gotta go through the growing pains of it all.
I mean, it was a mess, but it was a good mess, I think, because admittedly it is a mess.
Yeah, and I have to say, for at least my knowledge of the tokusatsu sites that were doing similar things at the time, you guys definitely more quickly established the credibility, at least from I see as an outsider, which I did know about TokuNet when you guys were starting up, but I didn't really start following until maybe 2016. Yeah, a couple of years after. So I think the processes that you and the rest of the founders went through to create those standards, though it was tough and it really was a growing pain process,
Did you imagine that you would end up being editor-in-chief?
No, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? I was just a normal Toku fan that was like, oh man, these TokuNet people are doing really cool things. I love their interviews. I was just any typical fangirl of the site. I gotta be honest, I was a total fangirl of the site. And I would talk about oh man, did you guys see the article that TokuNet did? This was way before I ever got involved. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I really was I can't believe the quality these guys are doing, because you guys were providing such good, credible information, steering away from rumors, creating content that wasn't really being created at the time. So that's just my little fangirl rant.
Much appreciated.
Of course.
Humbly accepted. I need to clarify. It may sound like insurance, but I assure you, this is not only just, backslapping each other. I can assure you it's not.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the next topic. I mean, how do you think TokuNet... Well, I mean, there have been changes that people have noticed, people that have been with us since the beginning. But how do you think it has changed, Tom?
We went from 5 members to 20, I guess.
To start with, yeah.
We've had lots of wonderful people join us. Some are still with us from early times. Some have left, some got busy or just, in general. Because some people get confused and think that we get paid.
Yeah.
That we make money out of this.
Yeah, because I've seen people get kind of angry that, like, we've done job, like, we post on Twitter, like, oh, we're looking for an editor, but it's a non-paid position, and people get really angry about it, and we're like, yeah, we're in the red every year running this website. We pay money to do the hosting and, you know, buy equipment and all this kind of stuff.
As the person who maintains the spreadsheet, yes, you're correct. All our money does go towards hosting, equipment, like getting things done for the site, content, etc., whatever we need. And I use my own personal money to at least give gifts to you guys, because it's the very, very least I can do for my members to thank them. Because I still to this day can't believe how hard everybody works. I know I started out as a contributor just like everybody else and worked my way up and tried to work my butt off to impress you all, but it's still crazy to see how many of our members just work their butt off all the time to keep things running, you know?
Yeah, much like other kind of businesses now, our group chat is all in Discord, and some days I'll wake up and, like, the main #main chat, which is where we talk about articles, there'll be like 30 or 40 messages. And I'm like, messages. Oh god, bloody hell.
Yeah, because we have such a specific coordinating process when it comes to releasing articles, getting the news out, creating content, etc. So we really, if someone listening were to ever become a staff member, they would see their Discord notifications just go crazy all the time, because we're always doing something. If we're not, working on articles or content, then we're just chatting at the same time, which I think that's what I appreciate the most about our team. And I think we just have such a strong bond with each other, even though there are quite a few members.
It is nice. Everyone's cool. I really like our group. Everyone chats a lot, everyone's friendly, and we can have any kind of conversation without any drama, always. Which I know a lot of Discords fall into that.
Yeah, that's true. It helped that you guys established that early on, because we were able to carry those kinds of rules. Because basically, when we look at some of our internal documents, like the staff handbook, that we basically give to our staff starting out, and we tell them, you need to follow this or you're out, because we don't want drama, we don't want negativity, and we want people that are really excited about Tokusatsu and want to spread the word through working with us. So I think we have a really nice community here.
One change I think that was most noticeable, I mean, every time I look back, is, for example, we started doing leaked scans and leaked catalogs and interviews from magazines, translating them and just taking pictures of the magazine and putting them out. And I think that's the other big policy that we had, that we created afterwards, after noticing, after realizing what difference we wanted to make and the kind of content we wanted to bring, was avoiding that. It's all about copyright and stuff, but, piracy is an enemy of what we like to watch and see and do, etc. It may sound quite hypocritical, since I'm not sure if I can use the P word that liberally, but, well, it's better to do it the right way. And it's better at contributing to, for example, bringing the shows into different markets. All the Shout Factory releases, they were because they saw a market there, but the only way to see a market is to make it accessible, of course, but also avoiding doing it through illegitimate means. So I think that's a message we want to put out.
Yeah, and I think you guys figuring that out over time and strengthening the policy on it, I think that's what's made TokuNet as respected, at least when I was viewing it as the outsider. Like, I was like, oh man, these guys really know their stuff and they're getting it from credible sources, usually first-hand sources, or at least straight from company websites or whatever. And I think that's a policy that is kind of the core of TokuNet, and I really don't ever see that changing, and I think it's not to toot our own horn, but I do think having that kind of policy does help bring more legitimacy to tokusatsu in general in the West, to say that we have this fandom, this community that wants to support tokusatsu legitimately, and they do things like go out and find news articles or go out and interview people. So,
which is the other half of the point I wanted to make, I guess, that, I mean, us being in Japan, we wanted to take advantage of it as much as possible. We are, abnormally understaffed here for what we are trying to do. But what we have managed to do, I think, has been good. I think people have liked it. We wish we could bring more in a more, constant way. But that's what we strive for. And we hope that you have liked what we have. And that we are making an effort to bring you more.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that we do have kind of... It's a small but extensive Japanese team. So, for instance, you, Kuni, and Tom are part of that Team Japan. George is part of it, too, because he's out there right now. And we have several members that help contribute that either just 100% speak Japanese, or speak Japanese and a little English, or they can act as translators. So we have a variety of members that help out there as much as possible to secure interviews, help with translating, getting press releases, going to events and covering them. So I don't think people understand how much work goes into that, and especially when TokuNet was starting off, I'm still surprised by how much you guys did back in the day then, because it's knowing the process of getting interviews and etc. It's so difficult.
It was kind of a all hands on deck kind of thing on multiple fronts, really. So everybody was kind of doing multiple things at a time, both here and in Japan.
Yeah, it feels like you guys in the beginning, and I think we still kind of do this, but we all kind of wear multiple hats, and we like to hone in on our strengths, but at the same time try to contribute in other ways to keep the site, interesting and fresh.
True, but at the same time, because we've grown the amount of people that are a part of TokuNet, we're able to sort of not overburden people with things, so tasks are spread out fairly evenly throughout the team, so that helps relieve stress a lot amongst our team.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest changes that has happened to TokuNet, is being able to do that with growing the team and having people that do specific roles that help out tremendously.
Yeah. Also, the type of content that we've done has changed over the years. Tokusatsu in general has sort of expanded quite a bit. At least in the West, it's expanded quite a bit. So there's a lot more to report on. And our site has kind of reflected that. But we've also done collabs over the years. Now we have podcast partners.
Yeah.
With Writer Love podcast. Shout out to Dan, our editor.
Yeah, we love you, Dan.
Yeah,
Hi, Dan.
Dan.
Hi, Dan. Thanks, Dan.
But we also have Toku Ladies podcast, Super Senpai podcast. So it's something that it was one of our ideas when we first started TokuNet, was to, incorporate the network part of that name.
Exactly. Make a network out of it.
Yeah, and we were slowly getting to the point where we can do that a bit more, and having podcast collabs partners has been one of those things that's been cool to see incorporate into our website over the years.
Yeah, I like that we really are taking the network part of it and taking it kind of more literally to promote the community, because really the tokusatsu community, at least in the West, it's nice to highlight people doing cool things, you know, like how we had our artist feature and we've had our cosplayer features, just to show that this community really is thriving, you know? And maybe that tells Toei or whomever that, wow, there's actually quite a unique community out there.
So let's bring this, let's bring that.
Yeah, I guess that was the original goal, if I could think of it, of why a community focus was important to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about changes over the years, are there any former or current members that you guys can identify that have really made a difference in TokuNet? I know I have a few off the top of my head that I could talk about, but what about you guys?
Man, so many. Because, I mean, it's been a lot of people who've, you know, come and gone. I mean, one of the founders is Mike, and he helps us with a lot, especially with the design of the
that logo that we use.
Yeah, the logos, that's his. I mean, he created that.
And that logo is just, like, timeless to me. I love it.
Yeah. It's a great logo.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely need to mention Michael Pang, who was one of our first translators, along with Kuni and Tom. Like, they were part of that team.
He was also a news hunter.
Yeah.
He was lurking in 2chan gathering information. And that's how actually that he was the first contact that Fuji, one of the sub-editor in chief here in Team Japan, Fuji, well, he sometimes listens to the podcast. They knew each other without knowing who they were. I mean, like, only by handle names.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to share, like, insider information and rumors and stuff. I mean, back when we still did it. And that's something that we still talk about. And many of our pipes do give us access to a bit of early information. But, I mean, it's making that difference, you know, releasing it only when it's supposed to be released. Mm-hmm. That's the only difference. But, I mean, they were both instrumental to giving us the base to start this. And, of course, Paula being the captain of the ship when it first sailed.
Yeah.
And, you know, thinking about it. Also, she was the one that made it clear that a policy of, you know, being nice and being welcoming, being conciliating, and also being professional and being, you know, have a standard, be legitimate. Yeah, she was much of a moral compass for the group as well. So I think, without their help and without their work, we wouldn't be doing this. The site would not be what it is. And we would not be, you know, having this nice conversation about it.
Yeah, right? We definitely have them to thank, for sure.
Tom, what about you?
I'm going to be cheap. I'm going to pick everybody.
Yeah, everybody's contributed, like, so much to the website over the years, so it's hard to, like, really pick people who have super impacted it, because
everyone has somehow.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Former and current members, they really keep this website going and have done so much for us. I know, like, current members, I can give a shout out to, like, Malinus. I love him. I appreciate you, Mal, so much. I know you're going to listen to this at some point. But
I really like seeing his art projects on the random channel.
Yes, me
Keeping
too.
us up with them.
I really love his work. Same with Hedge, our graphic designer. He does really good design and artwork. Oh, of course, I know. Thank you for everything you do. And Ryan, who kind of has taken over as our social media person, but also writes up articles, which, as the person who used to do both of those, that is really time intensive and hard to juggle. Oh, yeah. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's tough. I can't believe the things that our members voluntarily sign up to do.
We cannot thank them enough. And I am surprised every time, because I due to my day job, I am not. I cannot be as engaged into the news writing and stuff as I want. And every time I see the Discord channel and I see just a well-oiled machine working, because all of its parts, all of its members, you just have to do such a great job. I really want to take this opportunity to personally thank them as someone who probably doesn't contribute as much as they do at the moment. It's really assuring to see such great work being done. Thank you very much to each and every member of TokuNet.
Yeah, I really second that, because we're all, our roles have become more overseeing and making sure everything kind of gets coordinated in different areas. So I really appreciate the members who kind of do the groundwork for everything. I know occasionally I'll hop on to write some articles if need be, but I'm in the same boat where I can't contribute as much because I'm coordinating other things, like making sure our budget is okay and keeping on top of the videos that we're producing and etc. So I really can't thank this team enough. Everybody that has joined the team, everybody that's currently on the team, the people who have left, you all have made a wonderful impact on TokuNet, that's for sure.
We should have a Poke Rap with all the names of the TokuNet.
That would be great.
Oh my god. I don't even know if I could sound anywhere cool as the Poker Rap would be, Oh my god. Ugh. I love that Poker Rap, though. Who doesn't? Anyways.
Absolutely.
So, for you guys, are there any memorable moments that you guys can speak of from being a part of TokuNet? Like, for me, I talk about this all the goddamn time, but when I interviewed Ren, that's like one of the most memorable moments I can think of being a part of TokuNet and getting that opportunity. The fact that we could just interview the best common writer ever, in my opinion.
In your opinion.
In my opinion. That's what I preface.
I'm kidding.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna mention like Japan World Heroes as a whole, like the first year that we went, because for me at least, that's the most amount of TokuNet members that I've met at one time. Nicole, myself, George, Paula, Tony was there.
Yeah, Tony was there.
Tony
was there.
Kaylin was there. Squall was there. I feel like I'm missing someone, and I feel bad about that.
Josh was there, but he wasn't an official member by then. He was kind of like a guest contributor at the time.
But he helped out. Him, and actually, I don't think Tony was even a part of TokuNet at that time.
No, he wasn't.
No, not at the time. But he contributed.
They both
previously.
helped out a ton.
yeah, they really did. They just weren't like quote unquote official members, but to us, they were like unofficial. Yeah,
but yeah, like going around that whole con and doing interviews, like that was also really fun. Especially especially if you got to interview someone that you've like really wanted to talk to. Like for me, it was Hirofumi Fukuzawa. Like I could not believe that I was able to interview, and he was awesome.
Yeah, right.
It was also funny being intimidated by Ben Furuya.
Yeah. He's like, so cool.
He's so cool, but like at one point I was like, oh man, am I going to screw up this interview? And I thought I was. And yeah, there was a whole thing where like there was a mix up with timing. And I was like, oh man, I hope I don't piss off Ultraman. But aside from that, like the most like at least for that con specifically, it was just fun being able to hang out outside of that, because we've had a few dinners there and everything, and it was really fun just to get to talk to everybody in real time and stuff. It was really fun.
Yeah, that was the thing I was most envious about. Everybody just hanging out.
I know, you guys in Japan were like, oh man.
But then when what was it? I mean, this year you guys, a lot of y'all got to hang out in Japan.
Yeah.
And
we did.
It was my turn to be envious. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I had me bumming around Japan, so I figured we should all get together, Oh,
it will happen. It will happen. Give it time. It will happen.
Yeah, we'll all get together. We'll definitely make
cool.
a big editors meeting or hangout time. We'll all go to karaoke or something.
Yeah.
That'd be so much fun.
I remember back in our Facebook days when George and I confused the whole team as far as changing our names.
Oh god! Don't even.
Oh god! Yeah.
No, please explain, Yaz, because it's
was
such a good
an
story.
annoying thing. Oh god.
So yeah, this is back in our Facebook days, and we had a few. I think we had a couple members that were new. I think Michael Nixon had just joined. But it was around the time of George's birthday, so I don't remember why, but I think he changed his name to my name. And I was like, why? And he's like, I don't know. It's just random. You should change. Change your name to mine. I was like, I don't want to do it. And he was pestering me for like half a day. And I was like, all right, fine. And then I changed my name. And I was like, oh, this is fun. This is funny. And then, we get into the chat and we're answering as each other. And
it was chaos.
It was chaos
Oh my
because
god.
when stuff needed to get done, they would ask the wrong person. And it's like, when you say George, do you mean? And we just forget the whole thing. But it bit us in the ass later on because maybe like a few days later, we're like, oh, that was fun, but I kind of want to go back to being my name because, I'm tired of people messaging me like, why did you change your name to Jorge or George? And I was like, all right, I got to change it back. And I went to change it. And it's like, oh, you can't change for 3 months. So then George and I were stuck with each other's names for 3 months.
Then they were the ones annoyed. I mean, in hindsight, it is hilarious, it's hysterical, but there were some times in which we were genuinely annoyed.
Oh, yeah. And George and I were loving it.
Exactly, yeah, they loved it. That's the worst part.
Robin really enjoyed that prank because he was in on it.
But that's because he's such a being of light.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And fluffy and clouds.
Yeah.
We love you, Robin.
We should have mentioned him earlier, but he is the pun master of TokuNet.
Yeah, those puns they really can lighten up my day though.
Yeah, they're great. They make everything so much better. And of course me and him have conversations about like, oh, what skincare products should we try next and stuff like that. So I enjoy myself, but oh, Kuni or Tom, do you have anything like super memorable you guys want to talk about?
Recently, there was a bit of a typhoon in Japan.
Oh my god.
And so me and Nicole was visiting Japan at the time, and Tony was stuck in my apartment for like 2 days together. That was pretty fun.
That was fun.
It wasn't even 2 days. It was 3 days because it started Friday.
Yeah.
And then
you're right.
We didn't go out until Sunday.
Yep.
By Sunday morning, it completely cleared up and it was beautiful. Mm-hmm. And Sunday also happened to be the day of Max's wedding. He's also one of our members. Yeah.
Still can't believe that managed to happen.
Yeah.
Right after the typhoon.
Lovely
wedding.
And so, like, there was a bunch of TokuNet members at a TokuNet wedding, which that was very nice. Yeah. And it was a very sweet ceremony. Nice. And
oh, I know.
They were such a
that
cute couple.
That weekend was great.
Yeah, it was so silly. I think, what did we do? Like, we played Switch a bunch. We watched half. Oh, that was it. I remember. Alright, so before the podcast, I said there were 2 things that I stopped recently and haven't bothered rewatching. One of them was the Ouija movie. And I remember the second, it was the Men in Black International movie.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, yeah, you said
we watched half of it, and we were like, this is so boring, should we put something else on?
Yeah, we did.
Really?
Yeah. I just think it just, we also, maybe it was just me, but I had some drinks, and we were just snacking, and we were just like, whatever, let's just watch something else,
Yeah. Why waste life?
Why waste our time during a super typhoon?
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it's weird. It happens when there are typhoons because everything stops. You cannot go out, so it's about just getting as cozy as possible and entertaining yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that was super fun. I don't know. I had fun. I wasn't too worried about the typhoon because we were just having so much fun,
Yeah, we were in a safe area.
Yes, absolutely. Well, yeah.
We were on a second floor, on top of a hill. Mm-hmm. We were fine.
Yeah, we definitely were. But it was a lot of fun. Oh my god. I should have brought my Switch to Japan so we could, all play on the different Switches. But anyways.
I've got a picture of you and Shigeru asleep during that weekend.
Oh my god! Wait, really?
Yeah. It is not suitable for me to post online. But you both passed out on the floor. I think me and Tony went out for a cigarette and came back in and saw you two.
Oh, we probably did take a nap, because, why bother at that point? And I swear, it was, sweltering hot in your apartment, too.
Yeah, there was, despite it being a storm, it was really warm, and there was 4 of us in this apartment.
Yeah, right. Oh my god. No, that was that was like a mini little TokuNet party, little typhoon party.
It was like, we had an old sleepover.
Oh my god, yeah. That's exactly what it was like.
Right.
Yeah, all in our pajamas and and blankets. And I laid out all the futon beds, so we all were nice and relaxed. And
I slept like a rock on that Saturday of the storm. Remember you were saying that at 3 a.m. it was getting pretty bad, but we were all passed out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
How long after you got to Japan was the typhoon?
I arrived
About a week, maybe?
No. I arrived on
Was more than that?
the Tuesday before. Was it
Also,
Tuesday
right
or
after you
Wednesday?
arrived.
Yeah, it was right after. I only had three days of normal weather before the typhoon weather started up.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun.
But we did do a few things before that weekend.
Yes, that we can't talk about.
It wasn't like it just went, and now here's terrible weather for the beginning of your holiday. We were fairly active once you got here.
Yes, absolutely. And it was perfectly fine the Sunday afterwards, so.
Yeah, when you started the story with the most memorable moment was there was a typhoon a month. It's like, I don't know where this is going. Okay, cool.
Well, I mean, you talked about Japan World Heroes because you also got to hang out with everybody.
No. I'm just saying you started with a typhoon. I was like,
That's baller.
Yeah, you just one-upped me.
Well, I know this is kind of stupid, but now every time there's a press event for a Toei production or something, I used to have to like give a business card and say, I'm from this group and blah blah blah. And now every time I go up, they're just like, "Oh, hey Tom, here's your sticker."
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, you're right, guys. How you doing?" Yeah. They're like, "Oh, you know where to wait," and I'm like, "Yeah, I do. All right, see ya." But it did. Oh god, it sounds so terrible, right? But like, it's now got to the point where like, if it's like a V cinema or something, they'll be like, "Are you in this one?" And no.
Do you survive in this one?
Yeah, it's like, do you survive in this one?
Oh.
Can we talk about the time when you were at the Stinger press event where they like pointed at you?
Yeah, that was great.
I've got the clip still.
You do.
But I never posted it online because A, it was a spoiler, and B,
yeah, true.
B, it kind of made no sense from a camera. Anyway, what happened is it was the episode of Stinger talk show. They were doing photos and blah, 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 blah. I was in that movie and I get killed. And then when they turned to my video camera to wave, they all realised that it was me behind the camera, and they were like, "What the hell are you doing here?"
All of them pointed at the camera. It was really weird.
And they were like, "But you got stabbed," and like everybody was, the whole auditorium started laughing and being really confused. And I just shouted out like, "Oh, I came back to life." And then after they were like, it was funny that, and then after the event, I had like people coming up to me going like, "Who are you?" Like, why?
Why did they point at you?
Yeah, why are you in the movie and also filming this? And I like gave out a bunch of business cards and be like, "Hey, yeah." So yeah, that was pretty funny, and I went super red, but it was very.
Oh my god,
that was a pretty good
that would be
experience.
And you
really
can notice
embarrassing.
when Tom goes red. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of the YouTube channel, a memorable moment that I remember was when you guys first interviewed. It was one of our first interviews with Masa Ikedaya and Robert Baldwin.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a fun
Yeah.
thing to do.
And because, I mean, we were still very new and just figuring out the logistics of how to get that to work. I remember you guys talking about it over and over again. And, you know, over here in the U.S., like a lot of us just kind of all talking about it, but you guys were the ones doing it. And I remember when the footage started coming out, like you started sharing the footage because we got to edit it and whatever. I remember seeing that first and being like, that was the first time I was like, oh man, this is a real thing. Like just the holy crap, we're actually interviewing some Sentai heroes and stuff like that. It was a really cool moment as far as like TokuNet like firsts, quote unquote.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I still regard our interviews as some of like our favorite content that we produce. It's insane the people that you guys have found and are able to talk to, and I don't know, man. It still baffles me even being on the end of like seeing you guys coordinate it and stuff. Oh, it's crazy.
That was a really wonderful day because we actually filmed the whole thing. Like the first half we did DI's solo interview, and then the second half we did with both of them, and it was just lovely. Like the whole time we were laughing and joking and like just had a really good rapport. And what was that, 5 years ago? And even now we still hang out with Robert and DI.
Yeah.
Like still like message them and like occasionally meet up and whatnot.
Yeah, Robert is super nice. Oh my god.
Such a generous man.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know he's listening, but yeah, shout out Robert Baldwin. He's such a good friend, a generous man, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, actually,
I feel like...
when you came to Japan last year, he gave you a tour of Ginza.
Yeah, or Asakusa.
No,
Asakusa, yeah.
Yep, yeah. That was lovely. Like, I learned so much just about the area itself. Like, we did talk a little tokusatsu when we went to the Bandai Character Street, but I really enjoyed how knowledgeable he was, and to get to know him, like, as a person. Because, you know, I watched Kyoryuger. I liked him in that, you know, and all that stuff. But he's just a really very nice dude. And I hope to see him again.
I hope to meet him one day.
I hope you can too.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like if I ask you guys, like, oh, who's like the most memorable person you've met from TokuNet, I feel like that'd be like too much of tooting our own horns. But I think people might find it interesting. Like, who is your favorite tokusatsu person that you've met because of TokuNet?
In my case, would be Toshihide Wakamatsu, Black Kondo.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, that's when you when they say you meet your heroes, it's a very cheesy thing. Well, thought it was a very cheesy thing until I met him, because I repeat, it's like you go back to being a child again.
Yeah.
And you see them, and the face just rings a bell in you when you remember all those moments that you had watching them, cheering for them. It was a battle, suffering with them, and a series as intense as Jetman, it just made all the difference. And then hearing him talk about that, and how this thing happened, and how that thing happened, and all the little details behind the scenes, especially for a character like Guy. And then getting to, take a picture, and I shared it with my brothers. My brothers don't really like tokusatsu, but I have a brother, 1 year younger than me, and he used to watch Jetman with me. And he was like, do you realize who you are with? And I was like, I probably didn't. I was so I'm not sure if I can find the right word for it, but it was like a positive way to say shock. I was in shock. It was like thrilling to finally meet one of the the protagonists of my childhood.
Yeah, definitely.
It was amazing.
And he is as cool in real life.
Yeah.
Sitting there drinking whiskey and, talking in a deep voice.
He's much more soft-spoken and much more, warm.
Yeah, he's not aggressive. At least. He ain't gonna punch you in the face for no good reason,
Well, that's nice, at least. But he seems like a guy you could still have a good whiskey with, so. How about you, Yaz?
I mean, the most one that I was like excited to meet was, like I mentioned before, Hirofumi Fukuzawa. Mm-hmm. Just because like I love like action in film and TV shows. Like that's something that I love watching. Whether it's like kung fu action movies from Hong Kong, Japan, all that stuff. And I also have like a huge admiration for people behind it. And I always heard his name as like a suit actor and stuff like that. And then he became an action director. So being able to sit down and talk to him and sort of pick his brain as to like how he started, his transition from being a suit actor to action director, what that's like just being able to talk to him about it was really cool. And he was also very like, he's very upbeat and very like, excited to talk about stuff. So having him just like, just reminisce about it and get into detail is really cool. And then later on, meeting him like to get like a signature or whatever. At the time I had a cast because I had broken my elbow. So when I came back, I was like, oh, Sashiburi this. And he's like, oh, you. He's like, hey, how you doing? And we started talking again. And I think I wanted him to sign like one of the books that I had bought there that had a bunch of like, I think it was a Sentai photo book.
I thought you had brought the cast to sign.
Actually, I didn't have a cast. I just had a sling. Sorry, I just had a sling, so I couldn't really sign it. But I had bought a book that was like a photo book of like a bunch of Sentai heroes and stuff. And he just started flipping through it and just like talking about, oh yeah, I was suit actor for this. I was suit actor for this. This is me. This is me. This is not me. Like,
oh my god!
And he was just geeking. He was geeking out about it as much as we were. Wow. So talking to him about that was really cool. But also like meeting Ren Kiriyama very briefly was really cool. Even though I was like, I didn't know what I was saying halfway through it because I was like, I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I would say Fukuzawa was like the one person that I was like super excited to meet.
Oh, Fukuzawa was such a sweetheart too. Like you said, he was very upbeat. He was geeking out too because I know when he saw people cosplaying, he was so excited.
Yeah,
he took photos during the Kamen Rider cosplay shoot, and his wife and his children were there too.
Yeah,
and they were having such a good time, and his children were just so happy to be, hanging out with people that also like tokusatsu. I was really surprised by that, like how much his kids actually kind of got into it too.
I know his son was dressed as Gokai Red, I think.
Yeah. I saw a picture of that. That looks so cute.
Yeah, that was so cute. And he was also really cool about just, because at his panel, at the end of it, everybody was asking, oh, do this, Sentai pose, do that Sentai pose. And he was all for it. Like, he wanted to get through as much as possible.
Yeah. He wanted to show off like that. And I thought that was really cool of him. Like, because you would think normal actors, they don't really want to do that, once their role has gone by. But I feel like he had so much enthusiasm for everything he's done that he's just like, yeah, let me do this pose and stuff like that. It was so cool.
It was, man, that was great.
It happens a lot that they don't realize just how big and how enthusiastic the fan base outside of Japan is.
Yeah.
And how they just, because it's a different culture, it's a different country, they engage differently. So it's just new and very unexpected for them.
When you guys interview people in Japan, do you guys get that reaction often? That might seem like a silly question to ask, but...
They're confused every time that foreign people watch Sentai or Rider or anything.
Yeah.
Well, the first question they ask is how, and we cannot answer the question.
Yeah, true.
Well, we can say DVD box sets now.
Yeah, exactly.
True. Couldn't answer it well back then, but...
It's true.
No, but I mean, for example, when we have gone to extra stuff, and we have had a chance to talk to the cast or to the crew, they are curious as well, and they ask, well, what is it like? Or I mean, do they know this? They ask. That's the first thing they ask. Do they know this in other countries? I said, yes, by undisclosed means they have access to it. and then we tell them how I mean, some people don't even know about Power Rangers, for example. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But in general, they get very excited.
Wow. I mean, I think I've noticed that too, is that at least when I've seen them come over for the US conventions, they do get very excited. And it makes, at least for us as we're going to produce content with them a lot of the times, it makes it, makes for a good video, or it makes for a good article to talk about their enthusiasm and their interest in why we like tokusatsu and how and all that kind of stuff. Because I know that's what we ask a lot in our interviews, is like, what do you have to say to the international fans, or what do you think about the international fans? It's always very positive, which is so nice,
And it also makes you wonder how aware the upper crust is about the market that for example, I don't know, the US or the English speaking community represents. And I mean, we do know some reasons why many things are not brought or adapted in any way.
Right.
But I don't know, I always thought, well, if they just talk to us more.
Yeah, that's true.
Or talk to someone on the other side of the phone ball.
Yeah. And I think it starts with places like us and other people getting access and bringing that
exactly,
content
that's what we want to
over.
do.
Yeah, and I think, of course, we're not the only ones that do this, but I think the reason why we focus on it so much is the end goal of getting tokusatsu in the West, or at least more accessible to English speakers. That's for sure. But, I think we all have really memorable moments just from the opportunities that we've had through TokuNet or Tokusatsu in general.
I thought of my answer finally.
Yes.
Right, so it's not specifically the person. In fact, everyone that we've met via TokuNet have generally been pretty great. All the people we've interviewed, they've always been super enthusiastic and happy to do it. But one funny memory is when we were going to interview Yuji Kishi from Red Racer from Car Ranger.
Right.
And we had set up our my friend let me borrow his cafe. It wasn't open at the time. So we could interview him, and we were sat waiting. We had the camera and everything set up. And this guy just came in, and we're like, oh, we're really sorry, the cafe's not open yet. It opens at 6. And he was like, no, I'm here to be interviewed.
I'm sorry. I have to laugh at that.
But bear in mind, he was wearing glasses, he had a beard, and his hair was completely different. It was shaved around the sides, and it was up on top. He didn't look anything, and we were like, oh, we're so sorry. And he just laughed it off. He was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh my!
He was this dandy gentleman of a person, and then I mean, comparing it to Red Racer, as we remember him, it was a completely different person. He also used to be the official voice of Ken from Street Fighter.
Oh yeah.
Right. I forgot about that.
He did a Hadouken and everything.
Wow.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to the Tokusatsu Network on YouTube channel and you'll still find it.
Yes.
Also, look at what he looks like, because...
exactly. And you'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah, you'll understand why we did not recognize him whatsoever.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that cool, though, that we've had the opportunities to talk to... Well, they're not older Sentai or rider actors, but they're more, they've really changed over the years as they've aged or done different roles. I think it's cool that we've had that opportunity to bring those actors and actresses to the fans.
Yeah. And a lot of these opportunities has been because a new movie's out or a new album's come out or something like that, because they want to promote the actor. But we can also ask some questions about their previous work, like working on Sentai and whatnot. So when we had Black Condor from Jackman on, we were like, oh, would you like us to speak about this? We had a list of a few things that he was working on. And he just went, no, I just want to talk about Jackman.
Wow. I didn't know
awesome.
that. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
we had some other questions about other shows and stuff he'd done. He was like, nah, just talk about Jackman today.
Yeah, because with our process with at least more the newer actors, we always, include whatever work they're currently working on, as well as the former tokusatsu stuff. But that's incredible that he was so open to it.
Yeah, even with Red Racer, we thought maybe we could get some questions about Car Racer and talk about all these other works. But yeah, more than half of the interview was just talking about how much you like doing Car Racer.
Yeah.
That's incredible. See, that's so nice. I love that there are different experiences with the way that we've handled these interviews, and I think we've had some really, really great interviews and opportunities. It's incredible. I'm still amazed, and I'm the editor-in-chief, and I'm amazed by everything you guys do. It's crazy. Well, speaking of like how TokuNet has evolved and how things have changed, do you think your time in TokuNet has changed you guys personally, or gave you inspiration to do something Toku related with your life? I mean, I guess Tom could really speak on this, but I don't know.
I suppose I could say that.
I'm very curious to know how TokuNet has impacted you guys personally.
In my case, it's not Toku related really, but I have thought about that before, and the conclusion I have come to was that I was able to have friends I had not met yet, and people that I can genuinely call friends. Not only acquaintances or people I have interest in common, but actual friends. And that was something that I admittedly looked down upon. It's like, how can you have an online friend? It's like having an imaginary friend. I was really, dismissive of it. But then having met everyone and having worked with everyone and having, managed to actually meet some of the people I have met online, made me realize that I had been able to make a real connection with people and have friends, real friends, actual friends, good friends. It's very simple and maybe commonplace, but yeah, that's the biggest impact that TokuNet has had on me, that I have been able to make friends online through something that I like, and also it has made me appreciate the community more, because and something that we need to acknowledge, and well, at least me personally, is that these 6 years have not been just because we have done a good job. It's because people have liked it, people have read it, people have watched it, and and it's been the feedback that has made TokuNet better. So yes, it's been those two things. What I think that have made the biggest impact in my life. Yeah, I can agree with definitely the latter part of feedback always making a difference, and it helps TokuNet grow, and because we're also very attached to the different roles that we play in TokuNet, I think it helps us grow too. I know for personally, I could say that anytime I've gotten good constructive feedback or criticism on something I've written or something that I've done or produced, I really take that to heart, and I'm like, okay, if this is, if this is what people want and this makes something good, I'll definitely try it out next time or try a different approach, and it helps me grow. So, All right, Tom, you're up.
Not much.
Not much. No, not at all. Still the same old Tom.
Oh, yeah. Still that same boy from East London.
Sure.
Yeah, so came to Japan, met some stunt people, became stuntman, appear in Tokusatsu. End story. That's a short version.
Well done. Very good summary there.
I feel like I said that. I already said it in this podcast, so...
It's true.
Yes, then you can agree that at least working on TokuNet and getting into Tokusatsu a little bit more fueled that change in you, or wanting to pursue it at least.
Yeah, they are both very integral to each other and also very separate.
Yeah,
weirdly. But the passion is still the same. It's still coming from the same place, but they're just two different avenues that it filters into, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. How about you, Yaz?
A lot of it I agree with Kuni as far as like getting feedback from the community, good and bad, has helped us grow and helped us learn how to do this properly. And also, you know, the friends aspect. Because, I mean, all of us have been, you know, a part of different projects and, you know, stuff like that. And they come and go. But this one is this is the project I've been a part of the longest. And we've become, like, all such, like, good friends that it sometimes doesn't feel like work because they're just kind of hanging out. Even though
I like that too.
There's work to do, but we also have time to just, you know, talk and, you know, talk about the latest episode of Kamen Rider or Sentai or whatever. Or, you know, the latest Marvel or Star Wars movie or something. Like, we all are generally good friends, so that's always fun to do. And, you know, and also to interact with the community, whether it's like on Twitter or our public Discord. Like, that's always fun to do as well. But yeah, working at TokuNet also has given me a better appreciation of like what goes into Tokusatsu, like both in front of the camera, behind the camera, all that stuff. Just learning through osmosis of like our reporting has helped me kind of get a better sense of like, you know, what goes into this craft, you know, and have a better appreciation for it. So stuff like that I cherish a lot.
That's such a great point. Like, for us to be able to see some of the behind the scenes, whether that's from talking to actors or even just reporting on news, I know I can agree that I have a better appreciation for this genre and how much hard work goes into it. And,
yeah,
you know, the struggles are real for the people that work on these shows, you know.
Because, like, yeah, after a while, because, I mean, we've been doing this for, like, 6 years now. After a while, you start connecting the dots of, like, oh, this person worked on this, and this person did this, and he's also behind this, and she did this, and that. Like, you start to come across names more and more frequently, and then you start to really understand, like, what their role is. Whether it's producer, writer, director, actor, stunt people, like, that kind of stuff is, like, you learn it through doing this, through reporting kind of stuff, especially like when a new season comes out and all the staff like information comes out and you start to like piece things together.
Yeah, and they all each have their own style when it comes to their respective roles too, which I like to then, like, when they are working on something new, I'm like, oh, I wonder if this person's gonna do this because that's what they did in this, and blah blah blah. So it's really fun to think about that too, and I still can't believe all the hard work that goes into making these shows. It still astounds me every time. That is a really good way of saying it.
Also, talking to the people involved makes you realize how many of them do it just because they like it.
Yeah,
it's such an engaged project because they I mean, it's they're passionate about it, and it may not be because, well, I mean, of course it's a job. But many, they just they are passionate about it. Just like Kuzar was doing all the stuff that you talked about, that real enthusiasm and how it's really a labor of love what they do, and how it reflects on the result.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're gonna be a stuntman and get thrown around and you know, blown up day in and day out, man, you gotta love that.
Yeah, Tom, you got a comment on that?
Yes. Gotta love it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Just getting all beaten around. You gotta enjoy getting tossed around sometimes. But oh yeah, I guess for me, I would say, I mean, you all have touched on things that I 100% agree with, and I think personally being able to do the kind of roles that I've done. So I went from doing just the social media to writing articles to trying my hand at translating a couple times to doing voiceover, doing the podcast stuff. And I think I've learned a lot of skills when it comes to like content creation and the things that I enjoy like that. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm also now as editor-in-chief, I'm like an organization nerd. Like spreadsheets are my thing. I love a good to-do list. I love a good to-do list. I have a whole to-do list of things that I always need to follow up with everybody on that I am very rigid about, and I'm sure I'm a pain in the ass to you all. But I think with TokuNet, it's helped solidify, like, oh, these are the things that I like to do in my life. I actually kind of enjoy it, and now let's use it to help everybody else do the things that they enjoy, like encouraging you guys to write about things that you enjoy or produce the videos, and I'll worry about, the organizational side or something like that, I just get to do fun things, and I really like that. And somebody's got to keep you all in tip-top shape, so. No, you're all doing
Seriously,
a pretty good job.
Having you as editor-in-chief has been a great decision.
Oh my god, now you're gonna make me blush.
It's like, I think Tom and Yas will agree with me in saying that it was the best choice. And we are really glad to have you on board and to have you head the ship now. The quesadilla.
I do my best.
Absolutely.
You guys have made the foundation, so I think that has made my job a lot easier than it probably would be if there wasn't a really nice, already set foundation. I don't know. You guys give me too much credit, is what I'm trying to say. But, and of course, shout out to Paula, because she really helped me transition into this role too. Yeah. So I really appreciate everything that she did. And of course, being able to talk with you guys and figure things out, and the times when you all give me feedback on how I can help you guys better, that helps me as a person be more empathetic and all these kinds of things. I don't know, I'm getting really sentimental. So.
Well, TokuNet is like, it is a learning experience. It will always be a learning experience. You'll always learn how to hone your craft more and to learn new things. So to have a group that you're willing to learn with, and it's really easy to do that with, is something that, important for this team.
Yeah, and I like that we all kind of have our own ideas of things that we want to do, and we pursue it, Mm-hmm. Like we have our idea board on our internal server that people just post whatever ideas they think about, and
I can't keep up with that board.
I know, we're all posting so much. It's awesome. But I'm always just like, go for it, you guys. Like, this is great. I can't wait, and all of that. So it's a
lot of energy.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere here. And I really do have you guys to thank for that, as well as the editors keeping everything in line, helping me out, and all of that. Okay. Enough sentimentality. But so for the wrapping up of this podcast, what do you guys want to see for the future of TokuNet? What do you think is coming ahead for us?
What I would like to see is, what I would like to do more than for TokuNet to do would be, I would like to engage more with the community, have a different, many channels through which we can hear people, what they want to do, what they think we're doing right, what they think they're doing wrong, so that we can, strive to do it better, because it's for people who read. This content is not for us. It's for everyone. And it's for everyone to either show it to someone, to enjoy it themselves, for people to stumble upon when they are doing some YouTube binge, and the feed just gives it something that they find interesting, informative, and hopefully that can introduce them to Tokusatsu and have them liked. So yes, I would like to make an effort to engage more with the community and get more feedback from them. And again, thank you very much for reading us and for watching us.
Yeah, that's a really, really great thing to emphasize, because that's something that's also on my mind, is getting more involvement from the community in other ways. How about you, Yaz? Is there anything you would like to see for the future of TokuNet?
I mean, for the immediate future, like, since I work primarily in the podcast, I'm excited to see what we do for the next year in the podcast, for year 6 of Tokusatsu Network. But also, it would be interesting to do more collaborations, whether it's temporary or not. Like, just it'd be cool to be able to work on the network part of the Tokusatsu Network more. So I think that's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, definitely. Tom, anything you'd like to see in the future for TokuNet?
I feel like everyone took my answers again.
You gotta jump in, man.
Yeah, I should have. Yeah, I don't know. Bigger, better.
Bigger, better, stronger TokuNet.
More people reading it, more people contributing, better, more and more articles coming out. I've only really got generic things to say.
Also, more feedback.
More feedback. More feedback
on the videos, more feedback on podcasts, articles.
Okay, I would like.
I love how Yaz is just doing all he can to help you.
More subscribers to the YouTube channel, that would help.
Yeah, we're nearing 20,000. Thank you very much for your subscription as well.
Oh yes, amazing. Of course, it's incredible.
Please click on the bell so you get all notifications of new videos, because YouTube is bleeping everybody up the bleeper.
Smash the like button, hit that bell.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. Oh, but I think that's a good goal in general, is we want to make sure we're reaching more people. So it is very important that people who already like us or are interested in the content that we do, maybe share with some friends, comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell, whatever. But those are free ways to support us, because the more we can get our content in front of the community and people who are interested in Tokusatsu, the more it benefits the community overall. Because the ultimate goal is to just make this community grow, make my monster bigger, make my monster grow, like Rita says, that's what we want, and of course we are deeply thankful to the people who give us monetary support, whether that's donations through Ko-Fi or Patreon, or putting up with the ads on our articles, or buying through our Amazon links, or etc. There's so many ways you can support us in that regard.
Thank you so very much.
Yes, you guys are really the ones that keep everything running, and we really, really appreciate that. So I can only hope for more success for everybody in this next this 6th year of TokuNet. Oh my god. I still can't believe it's 6 years, you guys.
It's been a rush.
Internet is just like 35 years.
I mean, you're not wrong. We're the old Toku fans now, apparently,
Oh man.
Let's just continue expanding this.
Yes.
Good thing.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for everything that you've done, founding, and everything that you do now to make sure the site is running smoothly and producing content smoothly. I am deeply grateful to you guys. So.
And we are deeply grateful to you for helping us.
You're too kind.
Shit. Well, I mean, yeah, it's It's been really intense for all of us. But it's been good. Yeah. And I'm glad that you're coming along.
I am glad to be on the boat with you guys. I may be kind of the captain with the hat, but y'all are leading me too, so...
We got a good team all around.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really happy with everybody, and I really think we're going to do lots of good things for this 6th year. So
it's going to be fun. Yeah,
everybody stay tuned. And again, smash that like button. I'm kidding. Like,
YouTuber.
Yeah, right.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Do we have an Instagram? Yeah, we do. We do have an Instagram.
Please follow my TikTok account.
Oh my god.
Okay, you say that, but maybe rolling around in January when this actually comes out, Tom is going to be like,
no, you never know.
Oh, maybe I should get a TikTok account.
I'm too old to get a TikTok. I can't do
it. Yeah, right.
I can't adopt more social media. I can't do it.
Should we say goodbye now?
Yeah, we should. Before I get too sentimental. Alright, guys. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this special 50th episode. Please look forward to the next episode. Bye!
Thank you, bye.
Thank you.
Gingamon!
Leaving strong, Kuni. Leaving strong. The TokuNet Podcast is the official podcast of the Tokusatsu Network, your best resource for official Tokusatsu news and media. If you like our podcast, please rate and review us on your favorite podcasting platforms such as iTunes or Stitcher. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/TheTokuNet, where if you're at the Rider tier level or higher, you can get early access to episodes and more. Team TokuNet will always be online on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and of course our website, tokusatsunetwork.com.